So today I am super excited because I am going to be doing my full spoiler-free review on We Are Satellites by Sarah Pinsker. This is a brand new standalone sci-fi that just came out, and I was really lucky to get a copy from NetGalley to review. And honestly, it was such a good book. I really enjoyed it. It was not what I was expecting, actually. And that kind of made my enjoyment go up because I was like expecting one thing and then I got something pretty different than what I thought I was going to get, but it didn't hinder my experience at all. This is what I would call a quiet sci-fi. I really thought that it would be more technology heavy based on it being compared to Black Mirror. I thought it was going to be darker than it was, and it was not. This was not a Dark Mirror-esque, like really like black story, but I can see where they got that like Black Mirror inspiration for the comps for this book, and I think they did it really well with it being a very character driven contemporary like sci-fi book. In this book we are following 4 main characters and we follow them like throughout their lifetime. So we are following Val as well as her wife Julie, their son David, and their daughter Sophie. David is quite a few years older than Sophie. Like he is in high school, like a freshman in high school, I believe, when we first start this book, and Sophie is in elementary school. And the 2 women, the wives, the moms, I love them so much. Val is a high school teacher and track coach, and then Julie works for a politician. She's pretty high up in his like cabinet and works for him, like a local politician. So at the start of this book, we kind of are just getting into this new technology, and it is called a pilot. And basically it is an implant that they put in the side of your head, and it allows you to multitask better, to do 2 things at one time. It doesn't like give you powers or anything like that. It just expands your brain, basically. At the start, you know, everyone's like just starting to get it. It's like the rich kids and the elite, and the high school that David goes to and that Val teaches at is a very like upscale private school, and the only reason that he is able to go is because she is a teacher there. They are not a very rich family. That is pretty important as well, and he really wants one. Like, all the other kids are getting it and he's being left behind because all the other kids are able to get it and they are getting better grades, and education is kind of starting to shift to where it is very focused on these kids with pilots and teaching to them, so the kids that don't have them are left behind. So he finally convinces his parents and they get it. He is the first in his family. He gets this pilot, and that kind of causes a rift because Val is like very much not for it, and Julie wants one of her own. She is the other side of the coin. Like, Val and Julie are such a good couple, but they are very different, and I love that because like my husband and I are very different people. We are kind of what I would say is 2 sides of a coin. Like, we have pretty different views about a lot of stuff and a lot of beliefs, but like we're able to come together and make it work. And I love seeing that in like a sci-fi book because not every relationship's perfect. You fight, you don't get along, you don't always agree, but you still love each other, and I love that. And then we also kind of see Sophie, who is the youngest, and we watch her grow up. Her brother has this pilot, and she, no matter if she wants it or not, cannot get it because she is epileptic and has grand mal seizures. We get a lot of her, you know, health condition, having seizures as an epileptic, and basically she cannot get this because it is a major brain surgery and her brain is not able to take that. So she kind of gets left behind through no fault of her own because there's nothing she can do, right? And it's really cool because we follow them all growing up. Like, we follow David's journey, getting this pilot, what it means to him, and how it changes him, how it changes the course of his entire life, how it changes the way he feels and the way he sees things. He goes into the military, and then we follow Sophie, who obviously cannot get it, so we follow her throughout her life. And after high school, kind of joining this like resistance group and kind of being like a pretty prominent leader in her local resistance group to these pilots. And then we follow the two moms, Julie and Val. Val, who is basically relegated to teaching a very small class full of non-piloted children now, and Julie, who goes and does get a pilot in order to kind of advance her career. So this is very much a family-driven, character-driven story. We're just following them through their lives, the ramifications of this new technology on them specifically, as well as the world as a whole. We do get some glimpses of like what happens when people want to take it out, or what happens when people want to turn it off, what happens when people don't want to get it at all, like for religious reasons or this or that. Like, how are people looked at when they go against the grain and they don't want to kind of join up with this new emerging technology? And I think that is where the comparison to like Black Mirror comes from, is the very technological advancement side of it, but it's definitely not as like dark and scary as so many episodes of Black Mirror are. I love Black Mirror, so I was really excited when they said that this was a Black Mirror-esque book, but honestly, I felt like though I could see the comparisons, it wasn't what I thought it would be. I definitely thought this would be a lot darker and a lot more plot driven, and it never really got there. We did near the end get some more intense plot driven moments, and I really appreciated that. I loved the book though. I loved the characters, and I think if you love the characters, you're going to really enjoy this one. If you like a kind of slice of life sci-fi, you'll really enjoy this. And I think if you like Black Mirror, you will enjoy this, because it lives up to it, just not as dark. Like, it's a real light Black Mirror. There's a kids version of Black Mirror, by the way. Did you know that? It's called Creeped Out, and my daughter found it on Netflix. And I was kind of creeped out. I'm like, this is literally Black Mirror light for children. I don't hate it. So if you've seen that, let me know, because like, I don't think anyone else has. She found it on Netflix. Cool. You do you, girl. But totally off topic. But I really did enjoy this, and it is going to be slower for some people. Like, even for me, I gave it 4 stars because there was some moments where I'm like, okay, this is pretty slow. You know, I'd like to just like move on with it. Like, what's going to happen? What's going on? Let's move this along. And then there were also some like real jumpy moments where I had to kind of be like, okay, so how much time forward did we jump? Because we do jump forward, because we're following this family through like their entire lives. Basically, we follow them, I think it's like 10 years or something along those lines, 13 years maybe, because like Sophie's really young at the beginning, and then she's a full grown out of high school adult by the end of it. And you know, David is military and in the military and out of the military, and you know, adjusting back to civilian life and things like that. So we follow a long period of time, and it is a pretty short book, all things considered. It didn't take me long to read it, so that was really nice. I kind of flew through this, and I was really invested in the characters. So I loved Sophie. I adored David. Like, Julie and Val are just fantastic mother representations. Both of them, 2 different mothers, 2 different parenting styles, but I loved seeing that. I loved both of them, and it was a really great book, and it ended really well. I loved how they wrapped everything up, and it's kind of open to where it's like you can see there being something in the future, but it's definitely a standalone, which again, I love a standalone. But I could see the author coming back and being like 10 years later, like writing something that happens after the events of the end of the book. But there was just those couple little things that kind of were like, okay, well, let's move it along. Like, it got a little slow in the middle, and then the time jumps kind of. I had to be like, okay, well, how much time did we jump? other than that, I really enjoyed this. If you like I said, a slice of life type book that's very character driven with like a little bit of that technological advancement, Black Mirror-esque thrown in there, I think you'll really enjoy this. I think it's a very good one to read in between some of those like darker, heavier books that I tend to love. So it really fit in really well with my reading schedule. And I do recommend you check this one out and pick it up and let me know what you think. All right, hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have picked this up, if you plan to pick it up, and I would love to talk to you about it more in the comments below. My name is Jessie, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.